You might not want to consider moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, and here are 7 reasons why you do not want to do that. Charlotte, North Carolina is getting a lot of hype right now, and for good reason so, but to be completely honest, the grass is not always greener on the other side. No matter where you're coming from, there are some things you might want to consider of why Charlotte might not be the best place for you. Now, the first thing to talk about is affordability. To be honest, Charlotte is still about 2% lower than the national average of overall cost, and housing is still about 11% lower, which sounds all fine and dandy. Median home prices are around $400,000. Rents on average are about $1,200 a month, which depending on where you want to live, this might be a little bit low. So if you want to live in a nice area, you definitely have to fork up a little bit more money. But here's the kicker when it comes to affordability. This city is growing fast. Things are getting more expensive. Homes have increased a tremendous amount even over the last few years, and that trend might continue to head that way because there's such a high demand of housing in the city of Charlotte. So before you move here, think about the cost, think about where you're coming from, because this city is going to get more expensive depending on when you're going to arrive here. Next thing to talk about is Charlotte's downtown, which Charlotte is the only city in the United States, as far as I know, that call their entire downtown Uptown, and that area is actually dissected or split up into 4 wards. So the downtown has been going through some challenges. That's why it's on here of one reason why you might not exactly want to move to Charlotte. There's a lot of vacancies when it comes to businesses, which has kind of contributed to maybe an increased amount of crime, some homelessness going on. And to be honest, it is not a huge downtown. Now, it's not tiny, but it's not a huge downtown or uptown. So if you're coming from the New York City, if you're coming from a Chicago or in a bigger metropolitan area, it is not going to be apples to apples. It's more like apples to oranges. So keep that in mind. If you're coming from a bigger city, you're not getting the same downtown. And a public service announcement. As much as I enjoy making these videos for you, I really thoroughly enjoy you also finding a home here in good old Charlotte, North Carolina. So if you are thinking about moving here or moving just across the city, despite all the facts that we're talking about in this video, I want to hear from you. I want to see if I can make this a super smooth transition into your next home. But on a positive note, there are plans for expansion of the downtown area to revitalize it, to make it a place for people to come to. And it's going to be pretty nice based on some of the spec work that has been done. I mean, it is growing downtown. So it's going to take some years to get Charlotte to that point. But for right now, downtown is good old Uptown. Next, we got public transportation here in good old Charlotte. To be honest, that is another area of opportunity here for the city. So there's not a lot of options for public transportation. They do have buses, and then they have a light rail system, the Lynx, which right now they have the Blue Line. It will take you from northeast to southwest within the 485 loop. So from UNC Charlotte, sorry, until I-485 station. Man, that was hard to get out. So overall, public transportation, not that great. So if you live outside of the city and you want to commute in, it is very car dependent. So even in the city, if you want to go places, unless it's literally along that Blue Line system, you are going to have a car. So if you're moving here, just know that yes, you're gonna want to have a car in order to really be able to freely move around the city. However, there are plans for the city to eventually expand on the light rail system to go all the way from Gastonia all the way and through Charlotte and all the way up north. Now, when that's going to happen, I don't know. It could be another decade maybe, but I don't have a crystal ball, so I couldn't tell you. Just know it's in the works, but when it's gonna be here. And right alongside public transportation is walkability. Charlotte is not a walkable city. So if you're coming here hoping that you can just walk to a lot of places, this is probably not going to be your cup of tea. So they did a survey of about 130 cities, and Charlotte came sixth from last as far as walkability is concerned. Now, again, they are trying to make improvements of making it better, and they're actually already done. There are some more bike lanes that you can utilize, and actually in certain pockets like Plaza Midwood or like Enoda, in their little areas, it is walkable. But Charlotte overall, not a very walkable city. Now let's talk about hobbies, the things we like to do outside of work and the other stuff that we got on our plate, which is usually always a lot. So I don't know where the time for hobbies is, but it doesn't matter. So hobbies, Charlotte, yes, good amount of hobbies, yes, good amount of outdoor activities. So I got into mountain biking. There's actually a lot of trails around Charlotte, even within the city and the neighborhoods, where you can find a trail that you can hop on, just kind of go into the dirt, go mountain biking, jump, backflip. Nah, I wouldn't backflip. But so there are those things. However, if you are into hiking, for example, and you're like, man, you know what, I really would like to go hike in the mountains, you definitely can, but you're gonna be driving about an hour and a half. Or you're like, you know what, I really wanna go to like the beach because we're close to the beach. Yes, you can, but you're gonna be in the car for 3.5 hours. So those places are not that easy accessible. If you're really into hiking and you wanna be outdoors, that is not, you're gonna have to commute. If you wanna be on the beach, you're gonna have to commute. But other than that, man, I can't really complain. Let's talk about the type of houses, okay? Yes, we're gonna put this one on the list as well, depending on where you come from. Charlotte, there is a lot of new construction going on, also especially on the outskirts of the city, but what type of home do you get? A lot of those houses, especially the more affordable ones, they're gonna have not a full exterior brick, they're gonna have a lot of vinyl. And if you like brick, sorry, there's a couple of ways of doing it. Either you build it, you're gonna pay for it, or you're gonna find a home in a more mature neighborhood or in a more historic neighborhood, but also a lot of times those are going to come with a cost. Also, if you're going into a more new construction area, the houses tend, or the neighborhoods tend to look more cookie cutter. I don't know about you, I don't like cookie cutter. I would like to stay away from cookie cutter. If that's your cup of tea, that's cool, you know, and that's a lot of affordable homes are in those kind of neighborhoods that tend to be more cookie cutter. And you'll find that more and more often that that's the type of house that, you know, people are getting into, and also because of affordability. Now, there are some benefits to some of these cookie cutter neighborhoods and with the vinyl siding homes and not the full brick like you would like it, but inside the city and it's too expensive. But nonetheless, there are some really cool amenities that come along with some of these new communities that are being built or already established, where you can have pickleball, you have a pool, you have a fitness center, you have a nice little park, or like a space that you can rent for entertaining or having a function, whatever it might be. But there are some really cool things, or close to a golf course. So there's a few that are very close to a golf course. So those are definitely some pluses in some of those communities, and definitely take advantage of. Last but not least, of why you might want to reconsider moving to good old Charlotte is growth. This city is growing. Just to give you an example or perspective, since 2020, around 260,000 people have moved here. A lot of them came from bigger cities like New York, Chicago, Houston, or Dallas. And a lot of them actually moved here because of job reasons. So the city actually has a healthy economy, a healthy job market. There are some really good and big employers here. A big financial hub is here. A big healthcare system is here, or actually two. Novo and Atrium, and Bank of America, right, is one of the big financial employers. But with all this growth, there are some downsides. Now, one of the biggest ones that grind my gears is definitely traffic. Traffic is definitely increasing, where you have that congestion on the highway, and it can grind your gears. It makes you go nuts. The other thing is an increase in costs, right? Especially for housing. If there's a higher demand or not enough supply, so costs are going to stay pretty stable or stay elevated. So these are things to definitely consider a city that just continues to expand and grow. Well, friends, this is what I have for you this week. I hope you found some use and some valuable content of why you should not move to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm just kidding. You should definitely move here. It is a really cool city. Despite all the things we talked about in this video, it is awesome. I definitely enjoy it. And if you like the content, consider subscribing. Hit the notification button so you can be aware of when the next video drops. Now, I hope you have a blessed one, and I'll see you next week.